How's it going? Last week I got my hands on a Fossil Q Founder smartwatch and I've been really enjoying it. This is the second smartwatch that's made by a traditional watch company and it definitely feels like it. Anyway, let's get started with this review. Since the Fossil watch is running Android Wear as its operating system, the majority of features that this watch provides would be identical to that of many other watches that run Android Wear. Also, because it's running on Android Wear, this device can be used with any Android device running Android 4.4 or above, and any iPhone 5 or newer running iOS 8.2 or later. While third-party apps and a lot of custom watch faces might not work on iPhones, the core features such as notifications do still work. If anyone is interested, I can cover that in a future video. Anyway, because the Fossil is running Android Wear, in this video I'm going to focus on three things that could differ: internal specifications, external hardware, and battery life. Let's start off with the specs. What makes this watch different from most of the other Android Wear watches is that it's running an Intel processor versus a Qualcomm Snapdragon processor. There are a very small number of Android devices powered by Intel, however I have not had any lag with this watch. The only time I've seen it slow down a little bit is if you swipe right a couple of times to get to the voice search. However, I've noticed the same type of behavior in other Android Wear devices. It's possible that it has something to do with the switch to listening for a command. Additionally, and I don't know if this is just with my device, but I found that whenever I was using the Fossil custom watch faces, they would crash often. Though I haven't had any issues when using the non-Fossil custom watch faces. I'll mention this again later in the review. The Fossil watch also has twice the amount of RAM compared to the other Android Wear devices at 1GB. Again, it's hard to tell what this increase in specs means for smartwatches, but the performance on the Fossil is very snappy and smooth. Like most Android Wear watches, the Fossil does have a Wi-Fi chip that can be used to connect to Wi-Fi networks, so you can still get your notifications when away from your phone. The Fossil watch sports an LTPS LCD display that is covered by Gorilla Glass 3. While it's not an AMOLED panel that some of the other smartwatches have, it still looks great. A benefit to AMOLED displays is that they're able to turn off individual pixels if they're completely black, which can save a lot of battery. I will cover battery life in depth later in the review. Similar to the Moto 360 smartwatches, the Fossil also has the infamous flat tire, which is the area of the screen that houses the ambient light sensor as well as the display drivers. While I would definitely prefer a full round display, having experience with two watches now that have the flat tire, you really forget it's there. The Fossil Q actually comes with a pre-installed screen protector. It doesn't feel as good as the actual glass screen, but my Moto 360 does have a few scratches after being used for months without a screen protector, so even though it's Gorilla Glass, it can still scratch. Ironically though, I don't use auto brightness, which is a big reason for the flat tire. I found the display gets very bright, and keeping the screen on the lowest brightness at all times is enough for me. Readability both indoors and outside has been fine. Something that is actually missing from the hardware on the Fossil that most other watches have is a heart rate sensor. Personally, I don't really care for this omission, as I don't believe that heart rate sensors on smartwatches are accurate and consistent enough to be useful, but that might be a big deal to you, so it's worth noting. Identical to all of the other Android Wear devices, the Fossil also has 4GB of internal storage that can be used to store music directly on the watch. This can be useful if you have a pair of Bluetooth headphones that you can connect directly to the watch, which will allow you to stream music without needing your phone. Now on to the external hardware. The Fossil Q is made out of stainless steel and has a rating of IP67, which means it's resistant to dust and can be submerged underwater for up to 1 meter deep. However, I would take these ratings with a grain of salt. Your watch will be fine in the rain, but I still wouldn't go shower or swimming with it on. In my opinion, the design of the watch is one of the best on a smartwatch to date. Since Fossil has been making traditional watches for a long time, they're better equipped for designing a smartwatch that will have a traditional look as well as be comfortable to wear. While it looks similar to watches such as the Moto 360 V2 and the Huawei watch, something about it just makes it blend well as a traditional wristwatch. The Fossil Q stock watch band feels great and has quick release pins for removing or changing the watch band easily. This is how the watch looks without the band. It also uses a standard 22mm band, so any 22mm watch band can be used with the Fossil Q. Resizing the metal band myself was also very easy. I did use a toolkit that I bought on Amazon for $8, however when I was resizing the metal band on my Moto 360 it was a nightmare, and even a watch repair shop had a lot of issues with it. I have small wrists and I think the fit is great. Of course, it will vary from person to person. The watch also comes with this charging dock that is reminiscent of a stand for a traditional watch. It has hard plastic sides and the middle is a soft, almost pillow-like material. The watch rests on the dock while it's charging. What's useful regarding charging is that it's Qi compatible. So if you're upgrading from a Moto 360, you will have an extra charger. Also, all standard Qi wireless chargers should work. As a side note, if you want to turn off the screen while the watch is charging, double press the crown button when it's on the charger. When the watch is fully charged, the charger will glow blue instead of red when it's still charging the watch. This leads us to one of the biggest questions about electronics, the battery life. My typical day consists of putting on my watch at 7 AM and taking it off around 7 to 8 PM when I'm at home. After 12 to 13 hours of use with the screen always on and light to medium use, I still had about 50% left. One of those days I actually wore the watch for 17 hours, from 7 AM to midnight, and the watch was at 36% at the end. Of course, usage definitely matters here. If you're the type of person that receives hundreds of notifications per hour, you will not get that great of battery life, but of course that can be said about any of the smartwatches. Also, while I prefer to use this watch with the screen always on, turning the screen off and using the tilt to wake feature to see the time and notifications will probably get you closer to 2 days of battery life. It is worth noting though that the watch's tilt to wake is less sensitive compared to other Android Wear devices that I've tried. While this battery is not as good as on some of the AMOLED watches such as the LG Urbane, I believe it's still decent for an LCD display. The watch does come with 6 custom Fossil watch faces that you can use, and of course you can download any custom watch face you want. Strangely enough, I've found that the custom Fossil watch faces crash very often. However, this problem does not occur with non-Fossil watch faces. When using a different watch face, I never experienced a crash, and I've used it for days. You can also download the Fossil Q Android app, which has an interesting feature called Q Curiosity. This feature gives you a random challenge to complete every week, such as taking a photo every day of a different flower. To conclude, I really have been enjoying this watch. First and foremost, it was made to look like a traditional timepiece, which I appreciate. While devices like the Apple Watch take a more techy design approach, the Fossil attempts to make their watch blend in. The battery lasts me a full day and possibly a bit more. I haven't had any problems with connectivity, it runs great. It also has few limitations. One being the lack of an AMOLED screen, which could have increased the battery even more, and the other being the flat tire, since most people would prefer a full circular screen. The price for the watch is also reasonable. It comes out to $295 US, which is cheaper than the most inexpensive Apple Watch and is about the same as the other 2015 Android Wear devices. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If I missed something in the video, please let me know in the comment section below, as I'm usually pretty responsive. Also, if you're interested for a more in-depth look at Android Wear, as well as how to use Android Wear with your iPhone, definitely subscribe for that, as a video is coming soon. Please share this video if you think it'll help someone you know, and definitely give it a like if you liked it. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.